In talking about water, I think we need to provide kind of an overview of how water works in the state of Arizona. Who would like to jump into that topic?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is kind of set a parameter for when we talk about water. What we're hearing in the media right now really is all around CAP water, or water from the river.
Colorado
River. And that's important, and we need to pay attention to it. However, there's other sources of water in the state of Arizona. You've got groundwater, and we also have, our own river systems and stuff that we've got dams and utilize that water too, whether it's coming down out of the White Mountains into the Salt River Basin, or San Carlos District coming up from the Gila River. All of these are being affected by climate. So that's paramount. But I think when you talk about ag specifically in the current discussion, we need to realize that when the leaders 80 years ago or more started talking about water, and they started negotiating the Colorado River water and allocations, ag was a big part of that and has stayed a big part of that. But ag was also the ability to get the allocation, and over time, that water allocation from the river was going to go to the municipality. So we were going to see it decline or go away completely for agricultural use. That target date was 2030. We're 8 years difference. We used the best information we had 80 years ago to determine what kind of usage was going to come out of the river. We're in a 22-year drought. They hadn't seen this kind of stuff. So, when you figure 8 years, we're not too far off.
Right.
So ag has been planning for this for a long time.
Okay.
And when we talk about water and the word sustainability and all this other stuff, we need to kind of tie all that together, because the folks, the growers in Arizona have studied water for years, have got more and more efficient, are probably the most highly efficient water users as far as agriculture goes that you're going to see maybe even in the world. And so it's not something that's just come about for the agriculturalists. They know what's going on.
Interesting. Carrie?
Well, and like Matt was saying, to kind of add to that, our farmers use things like drip irrigation. They use the sprinklers. They have the leveling for the flood irrigation on it. And if you look at the water use our farmers have today compared to where it was in 1957, it's the same level. They're using the same amount of water that they used at that point in time.
Stat.
So there's improved efficiencies.
With more production.
Right. And on less acres, that they're doing more with less on it. And like Matt said, as part of the Central Arizona Project, which is the CAP, there was the original forethought to say, how are we going to allocate this? What are we going to use for our priority? And knowing that there was an end date. The more important aspect is the groundwater of it. We knew that the CAP was going to go away, but now how do we ensure that we maintain the aquifers at the correct levels and that we have the flow of water to get to the farmers? That's what they're concerned about, is do we have enough support to utilize the groundwater now as 100% versus historically only being 50% of their water?
Right. That's really the big challenge. Since we're talking about innovation, we hear a lot about desalination concept. Either of you have thoughts on that?
Great idea. Pretty expensive still. To me, that kind of falls in the same thing as building a pipeline from the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
I mean, what people need to understand with water is that there's a finite resource of water on the world.
Period.
Let alone Arizona. So if we take water from someplace else and move it into another environment, there's going to be effect there.
Right.
And so, we live in a desert. We ought to learn to live within our resources.